Hurricane Kiko is strengthening once again after undergoing an eyewall replacement cycle yesterday, and is back up to winds with 140 miles per hour, gusting to 165, pressure of 946 millibars, and is moving west at 10 miles per hour. Here is the forecast. We have it reaching a second peak in around 6 hours with winds of 145 miles per hour. It will hold that intensity for around 12 hours, at which point it will start to weaken due to increasing wind shear, decreasing sea surface temperatures, and at the very end of that, the storm is getting close to Hawaii, so Hawaii could see some threats from this storm. Here is the wind field. The storm is still fairly small. Tropical storm force wind fields are not that big. Hurricane force winds are small by that standard. And major hurricane force winds you can see very, very small. Like, that's a tiny core, and that's mostly because the storm has a pinhole eye right now. It has a very, very tight core. We have no watches and warnings in effect because it is still at least 6 or 7 days away from land. No wind threat at that either. Here are the chances. We have 100% of tropical storm category 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's already reached all that. 15% chance of reaching a category 5. It could still happen, but it is unlikely at this stage. At landfall, this is mostly dependent on if the storm even makes landfall. We have a 40% of tropical storm, 1% of category 1, and less than 1% for category 2, 3, 4, and 5. Overall danger, we are giving a 3. The wind threat is a 4. This is a small storm, so overall, storm surge in size is not really going to be the issue. The rainfall threat's not that serious. I think maximum rainfall on land, we're talking maybe 1.5 inches in Hawaii. And the wind is going to be the main threat because of that, because there's going to be pretty much no rainfall, and the storm is so small that the storm surge in the actual size is not really going to be that big of an issue. We're currently going with 140 miles per hour. The NHC and GFS are both going with 130 currently, although both of their last advisories were 6 hours ago at the time I'm recording this. And since then, the storm's satellite quality has improved. You can see in the top left up there, that starts about 3 hours ago. And the storm's likely already 140 miles an hour by then. But over the past 6 hours, the storm's satellite quality has improved greatly. So that's why we're giving it 140 instead of 130 like the National Hurricane Center. Let's go ahead and move on to the GFS now. Here is H Wharf. They're going with 949 millibars right now, and I don't know what wind speed. 949 millibars, that's fairly accurate to its current pressure. They just have weakening from here on out, really. That's kind of slow weakening, too. And I don't see... Oh, there's Hawaii right there. I was about to say, I don't see Hawaii anywhere, but it's right there. Why did I click regions? HMON, I'm assuming it's forecasted somewhere. 958, it is definitely stronger than that right now. So they have it strengthening to 949, so we're talking a 9 millibar drop from right now would be 937, which would be the lowest pressure of the storm. And yeah, just weakening. I don't even see Hawaii in those frames. HAFSA, dear God. 962 millibars. It is much stronger than that. And they are looking at an 18 millibar drop. That'd put the storm, reasoning off that'd put the storm in the high 920s at its second peak, which would probably be a category 5 in a storm like this because it's so small. I'm not going all the way down to 942 there. That's stronger than what the storm's official pressure peak is. But watching this, that is a category 1 hurricane still approaching Hawaii. I don't think Hawaii has had a hurricane landfall since Hurricane Iniki, and that was 33 years ago. HAFSB, this is the one that's known for way overestimating things. 957 currently. They have it dropping to 954. It's only a 3 millibar drop. And looks like a little bit of re-strengthening there. It's been that with some other models. I haven't mentioned it though. A second re-strengthening phase there. And yeah, that is still a category 1 hurricane approaching Hawaii. GFS currently at 953. That's around what they're actually at right now. They're going with the same pressure as the NHC. They're going with 951. They literally just have weakening from here on out. They have this passing north of Hawaii. That's probably not even tropical at that point. And From the looks of it, it gets pulled up into some extratropical system. ECMWF, the one that's known for underestimating everything. So, right now, 983 millibars. It is much, much stronger than that right now. Based off this pressure drop, a 11 millibar drop from right now. I put it at 935. And once again, there's Hawaii. Passing to the northeast there, maybe still a tropical depression. But that's a tropical storm right there, but maybe a tropical depression. That might still be tropical at the end right there. Let's move on to satellite imagery. It looks pretty good, I'll say that. The eye is starting to... You can see the eye kind of, pleuroded a little bit. You can see in those more recent frames, it's starting to poke out a little bit. The storm's cloud tops at the beginning here, you can see there's a little bit of wind shear in the western eyewall. That could have been what was left from its eyewall replacement cycle, I'm not sure. But a few hours ago, blew up some pretty decent convection on the southeastern eyewall. And that's just mostly been wrapping around the eye right now. And from the looks of it, I don't see any wind shear in the storm. Wind shear is basically when you're looking at sharp gradients. So an example would be like Hurricane Iona earlier this year. It was going from like these black areas like straight into these green areas. That's an example of wind shear, and doesn't look like it has any of that right now. You can see the eye has been kind of just poking in and out all day pretty much, and it's starting to poke out again in these most recent frames. And yeah, that's it. Let's move on to the global tropics. Here's the global tropics. Hurricane Kiko is obviously the strongest storm worldwide. The other two storms active are Tropical Storm Lorena, which is rapidly weakening due to extremely high wind shear, and Tropical Storm Peipa, which made landfall in Japan earlier this day and is still somehow a tropical storm. That is it for this update. Like, subscribe, and goodbye.